All right, so we're diving deep today, ready to uncover those layers of the Golan Heights, using all that juicy stuff from your training, like lectures and site visits, even some movie clips, right,
Yeah.
to help give you the knowledge to really impress your tour groups.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I was getting ready for this deep dive, I was really surprised by how much more there is to the Golan Heights than most people realize. It's like
Yeah.
it's not just stunning landscapes, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's this amazing combination of ancient history and then like modern innovation and these incredible stories of
Really,
resilience.
that's so cool. I think most people probably like picture the Golan Heights and they just think beautiful views, but you're saying there's a whole other dimension to it. What surprised you the most?
Honestly, it was the people, their spirit. They've gone through some really tough times, like security challenges and stuff, but they never gave up, never let it break them. Instead, they built this vibrant community. They're focused on like innovation, making a name for themselves, especially with wine and agriculture. It's like that spirit, that determination, that's what you really want to show your tour groups. That's a huge part of what makes the Golan Heights so special.
I love that. It's not just about the sites, it's about the people who make it what it is. Now, speaking of history, we have to talk about Gamla. I mean, this ancient city, it has a past that's like just screaming to be shared, don't you think?
Oh, Gamla is an amazing place to start.
Yeah.
Imagine like you're standing there on a hilltop with your tour group, right? You're looking out at this incredible landscape, and then you point out how the city itself is built on this really steep hill that actually, believe it or not, looks like a camel hump.
Whoa, okay, I never thought of it that way. That's a great visual.
Right. And that unique geography wasn't just for show. It was a strategic battlefield, Roman battlefield. And it played like a super key role in the Jewish revolt against the Romans.
So we're talking about a real turning point in history here, and a story that's both fascinating and kind of tragic.
Yeah.
How do you think, as like future tour guides, how do we handle such a sensitive topic with our groups?
I think it's all about like framing the narrative in a way that connects with your audience. You got to bring those ancient stones to life. So imagine you're leading your group through those ruins, right? And you point out the remains of houses, synagogues, even those old olive presses. Talk about like what daily life would have been like back then, the sights, the sounds, even the smells. What would it have been like to live there?
I love that. It's like stepping back in time.
Yeah. And don't shy away from the tough questions. Ask your group, why do you think the people of Gamla resisted Roman rule so fiercely? How does their story compare to other, like, historical examples of resistance and sacrifice? These kinds of questions, they really get people thinking.
It's incredible to think that as tour guides, we get to be those storytellers. We bring these events to life. Now, switching gears a bit to another ancient site, we have Katsrin, which offers a totally different experience for tourists, right?
Totally different. Katsrin is where history gets, like, hands-on. You're not just looking at ruins. You're stepping into a reconstructed village from like 1,600 years ago.
Wow.
And here's the best part. You can actually show your group how people made olive oil back then using, get this, the oldest functional olive press in all of Israel.
No way. It's actually still working?
It's still working today. Can you imagine the look on their faces when you tell them that?
That's amazing. Talk about a connection to the past. From what I've learned, Katsrin also have all sorts of seasonal activities for tourists, like olive picking, bread baking, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Seems like it's all about engaging those senses, right?
Exactly. Think about it. Your group could pick olives, press the oil, even bake bread using those same methods that people used centuries ago. Talk about sensory overload.
Yeah.
In a good way, of course. But these are the kinds of things people remember long after the tour is over. It makes history come alive. They'll go home with some awesome stories to tell.
Okay, so we've got dramatic history at Gamla, hands-on history at Katsrin, but there's something else about Katsrin we have to mention. They recently discovered this incredible mosaic floor in the village synagogue. What's the big deal about this finding, and like how should we talk about it during our tours?
This mosaic, it's a game changer, especially for us, as tour guides. It was hidden under a pillar for centuries, perfectly preserved. And get this, its design actually challenges some of what we thought we knew about Galilean synagogues from that period.
Oh,
Yeah, so when you're there with your group, you can point to that mosaic and say, hey, this discovery is literally changing how we understand history right now.
that's so cool.
It is.
Right.
And it's a reminder that there's always more to learn. The Golan Heights is still full of secrets waiting to be discovered.
I love that. It adds another layer of mystery to the tour.
Mm.
and it shows how important those ongoing archaeological digs are.
Mhm.
Now, all this talk about ancient history has got me thinking, what about the Golan Heights today? I know you mentioned like a really cool culinary scene earlier. Let's jump into that, shall we?
Yeah, the culinary scene in the Golan Heights is just booming right now. It's definitely something you'll want to highlight, for your tour groups. We're talking top-notch, locally sourced everything, meat, cheese, olive oil, and of course the wine.
Okay, the wine. I knew we couldn't have this deep dive without talking about Golan Heights wine. From what I've gathered, like, the Golan Heights winery has been huge. So much to talk about. We learned about this thing, terroir, and it sounds pretty important.
Terroir is super important, especially for Golan Heights wines. It's, a fancy French term, but think of it like this. Imagine you're comparing coffee beans from different regions. Like, beans from Ethiopia would probably taste totally different from beans from Sumatra, right?
Right, yeah.
And that's because of the soil, the altitude, even how much rain they get. All those environmental things contribute to the unique flavors of the coffee. Well, same thing with wine. The terroir of the Golan Heights, with its volcanic soil, high altitude, and cool climate, it gives the grapes a really distinct character that you just won't find anywhere else.
So when we talk about Golan Heights wines being special, we're not just talking about the grapes, but the whole environment where they're grown. That makes a lot of sense. But how does that, translate to specific wines that our tour groups might actually be tasting?
That's where you come in, with your knowledge as a tour guide. Let's say you're at the Golan Heights Winery with a group who are real wine lovers. You can point out how that volcanic soil and the high altitude give the Yarden Cabernet Sauvignon its like unique minerality in that complex structure. Or you could talk about how the cooler climate in some parts of the Golan makes for a really crisp, refreshing Chardonnay. Being able to make those connections between the terroir and the taste, that's going to really impress your groups.
Wow, so we're not just pouring wine, we're
Yeah.
like telling the whole story about the land, the climate, the history of the Golan Heights, all in that one glass. That's brilliant. Now, speaking of stories, the Golan Heights has had a pretty complex history, hasn't it? How do we approach that with our groups, especially with all the different perspectives and sensitivities involved?
You're right. It's definitely a sensitive topic. The Golan Heights has changed hands a lot over the centuries, so it's super important to approach its history with sensitivity and balance. One way to do that is by focusing on those personal stories, like the one we heard from Yakov Selivan, the deputy mayor. Remember how we talked about the challenges the people there have faced, but also their incredible resilience and their determination to thrive.
Yes. His story really brought home the human side of the Golan Heights. And he also emphasized how important tourism is to their economy, something we as future tour guides need to keep in mind, right?
Absolutely. By showing off the Golan Heights' unique attractions and those experiences they offer, we're not just sharing its beauty and history, we're supporting the local community and helping their economy grow.
That's powerful. It adds another layer of meaning to what we do as tour guides. Speaking of unique experiences, Deputy Mayor Sullivan mentioned that Lal Art Complex, which sounds like a real hidden gem. We should check that out, right?
Lul is a perfect example of what makes the Golan Heights so special. It's this unexpected mix of art, good food, and incredible views overlooking the Sea of Galilee. You can grab a bite from a food truck, check out some local art, and just soak it all in, the scenery. It's the kind of place that will surprise your tour groups, especially those looking for something, a little off the beaten track.
Okay, that's going on my list of must-see spots. And speaking of venturing off the beaten path, Deputy Mayor Sullivan also mentioned the Israeli Stonehenge, which sounds, I don't know, incredibly intriguing. What can you tell us about that?
It's like this megalithic structure, and it's totally shrouded in mystery. No one knows for sure who built it or why, but it definitely points to this ancient history that's layered underneath the modern Golan Heights. It'll spark your tour group's curiosity, for sure. It's a great chance to talk about the mysteries that are still waiting to be uncovered.
Sounds like the perfect place to let imaginations run wild. Now let's go back to ancient Katsrin and that amazing mosaic discovery. You said it challenges what we know about Galilean synagogue design, which is super interesting from an archaeological perspective. But how do we make that come alive for our tour groups?
Imagine you're standing there with your group, you point at the mosaic, and you say, "This discoverer is rewriting history right in front of us."
I love it.
You can explain how it was hidden for all those years, perfectly preserved, and how its design is changing what we thought we knew about ancient synagogues. It's a great example of how archaeology is constantly giving us new insights into the past. It adds excitement and a sense of discovery to the tour.
It's like we're inviting them to be a part of this, ongoing archaeological adventure. Now, besides the mosaic itself, Katsrin also has those hands-on activities, right? We talked about the olive press, but there's more to it, yeah.
Totally. You were right on the mark when you talked about engaging the senses. Katsrin takes that to a whole other level. You can encourage your group to take part in olive picking, bread baking, even grape stomping. It's not just about watching, it's about experiencing those ancient traditions firsthand.
I love that. It's not just history, it's a whole sensory experience, and a great way to make those historical facts and figures really come alive for our tour groups. Speaking of bringing things to life, I remember from the training materials a story about the discovery of like a Roman legionnaire's full military equipment at Gamla. That's got to be a powerful story to share, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. Imagine describing that meticulous excavation process, the excitement of uncovering each piece, right? The helmet, the shield, the sword, all perfectly preserved. It's like a chance to paint a picture of the Roman army marching through these lands. That story will resonate with anyone, history buff or not.
It's those details, those tangible connections that make history come alive. Now, speaking of tangible connections, we can't forget Gamla's connection to another really iconic site in Jewish history, Masada. How do we handle that comparison without oversimplifying or, generalizing too much?
It is a delicate balance. Both Gamla and Masada met tragic ends during the Jewish revolts against Rome. Both are powerful symbols of resistance and sacrifice. You can definitely draw parallels highlighting those themes of courage, determination, in the face of impossible odds. But it's important to emphasize that each site has its own distinct story, its own historical context, and the individual choices people made led to their ultimate fates.
So acknowledging those connections, but also respecting each place's unique story, that's a great approach. Now, the Golan Heights is also home to a fascinating figure, kind of shrouded in legend, Choni Hamagyal, who's associated with Katsrin. How can we weave his story into our tours?
Oh, Choni Hamagyal adds a touch of mystery and folklore. He's known for his miraculous powers, his connection to nature, his ability to bring rain. You can easily weave his story into your tour of Katsrin. It adds another layer of legend and spirituality to that already rich historical narrative. It reminds us that the Golan Heights is a place where history, legend, and spirituality all come together. It creates this tapestry of experiences that will really captivate your groups.
I love that. It's about creating that tapestry, weaving together history, legend, and those human stories that make this place so special. Now, speaking of weaving, we can't forget about the Golan Heights Winery and all the different wines they make. We've talked about terroir and how it impacts the wine's flavors. But what about the different brands themselves? How can we, as future tour guides, help our groups, navigate all those choices?
Yeah, that's where you come in, using your knowledge of those brands and their unique qualities. Remember, the Golan Heights Winery has something for every taste, from the premium Yarden wines known for their complexity and aging potential to the more affordable Golan and Herman brands, which are great for, everyday drinking.
So it's not just about pointing at a bottle and saying, this is a good one, right? It's about understanding each brand, their price point, what makes them stand out.
Exactly. You want to be able to recommend the perfect wine for every group, whether they're seasoned connoisseurs looking for a rare vintage or just casual drinkers who want to try something new and local. It's all about making that connection between the wine and the people who'll be enjoying it.
That's great advice. It's all about making those personal connections, which is really what we do as tour guides. Now, we also need to talk about managing expectations. The Golan Heights, while full of attractions, is still developing. How do we prepare our tour groups for that?
It's about being upfront and setting realistic expectations from the beginning. You can explain that some amenities might not be as readily available as in, more well-established tourist spots. For instance, Wi-Fi might not be as widespread, or some restaurants might have limited hours or menu options.
So transparency about what it's like to travel in a developing area, but also highlighting the good stuff about that kind of experience.
Exactly. You can spin it as part of the Golan Heights charm. Emphasize that authenticity, that opportunity to connect with nature and the local culture in a more, I guess you could say, intimate setting, away from the crowds and all the commercial stuff of those more touristy areas.
It's about embracing that unique character and enjoying the journey as much as the destination. Now, speaking of journeys, the Golan Heights is about to embark on a pretty ambitious one, with the planned cable car project connecting it to the Sea of Galilee. How do we talk about that with our groups, even though it's not finished yet?
The cable car project is a great example of how the Golan Heights is constantly evolving and looking toward the future. Even though it's not running yet, you can definitely mention it to your tour groups. Highlight those amazing views and unique tourism experiences it'll offer when it's done. It's a good way to remind them that the Golan Heights is forward-thinking while still honoring its rich history and traditions.
It's about showing them that dynamic, forward-thinking energy while preserving its authentic charm. Now, we talked about adding those personal stories into our tours, but what about our own personal stories? How can we share our own connections to the Golan Heights in a way that enhances the tour experience?
Sharing those personal connections can definitely add a layer of authenticity and intimacy to your tours. If you have, like, family ties to the region, share those stories about your ancestors, their lives, their contributions to the Golan's development. Or, if you've volunteered or worked on a kibbutz, share those experiences and what you learned.
So it's about weaving our own narratives into the bigger story of the Golan Heights. We're not just guides, we're individuals with a deep connection to this place.
Exactly. It's about creating a shared experience. A connection that goes beyond the typical tourist guide thing. It's about showing your passion, your excitement, your genuine love for the Golan Heights.
It's about being authentic, being ourselves, letting that passion shine through. Now, I'm really excited about sharing the Golan Heights' incredible natural beauty with people. Beyond the historical sites and the food scene, the region just offers such diverse landscapes, from rolling hills and forests to waterfalls and that peaceful lake. How can we best showcase that to our tour groups?
The Golan Heights is like a nature lover's dream. And we, as tour guides, have this amazing opportunity to guide our groups through those landscapes, share the wonder and beauty of it all.
So it's not just about saying, hey, look at that pretty view. It's about crafting an experience, taking them on a journey into the heart of the Golan's natural wonders.
Exactly. Think about incorporating hikes through the Yehudia Nature Reserve with its amazing gorges and waterfalls, or bike rides along the National Bike Trail, winding through those picturesque landscapes. And for people who want something more relaxed, there's always kayaking or boating on the Sea of Galilee, taking in the peacefulness of the surroundings.
It's about offering a range of experiences to fit different interests and abilities, making sure everyone gets a chance to connect with the Golan's natural beauty in their own way. Now, we also need to think about the religious and cultural diversity of the area. As tour guides, how do we navigate those sensitivities and make sure we're respecting all the communities and traditions that call the Golan Heights home?
That's a really important part of being a tour guide in the Golan Heights. We need to approach this with sensitivity, respect, and a willingness to learn. When talking about ancient sites like Gamla and Katsrin, we should acknowledge their significance to both Jewish and Christian history. We can highlight those connections to biblical stories, the shared heritage, the importance of interfaith dialogue.
So it's about understanding how these faiths and traditions are interconnected, showing the Golan Heights as a place where different cultures have lived together and shaped its history.
Right, and we can't forget about the Druze and Bedouin communities who also called the Golan home. We should encourage our groups to engage with these communities in a respectful way, maybe by visiting local markets, trying their food, or even participating in cultural events.
It's about fostering understanding and appreciation between different cultures, showing our tour groups the beauty of diversity and the importance of respecting different ways of life. Speaking of respect, we also need to respect our own well-being. Leading tours can be pretty demanding, physically and mentally, especially in a place like the Golan Heights, with its varied terrain and sometimes unpredictable weather. How do we prioritize taking care of ourselves while still giving our tour groups the best experience possible?
Self-care is absolutely essential for us tour guides. Like they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, eating healthy food, and staying hydrated, especially during those long days out and about. Take breaks when you need them, and listen to your body.
It's about taking care of ourselves so we can take care of others, making sure we're at our best for our tour groups. Now, another part of tour guiding is building those relationships with the people in our groups. How do we create that positive and inclusive vibe that makes for a truly memorable and enjoyable experience?
It's all about those personal connections. From the second you greet your tour group, project warmth, enthusiasm, and a genuine interest in them. Learn their names, ask about what they're interested in, and tailor your commentary to their individual personalities.
So it's about treating our tour groups like individuals, not just a big group, showing them we care about their experience on a personal level.
Exactly. Be patient, be approachable, and always be willing to answer their questions, even if they seem basic or like you've answered them a million times already. And don't forget to have some fun. Share your passion for the Golan Heights, tell stories, crack some jokes, and create a lighthearted and fun atmosphere.
It's about making it a shared experience, a journey we're all on together, filled with laughter, learning, and genuine connection. Speaking of journeys, the journey of a tour guide is all about continuous learning and growth. How do we keep up with the latest in the tourism industry, especially stuff related to the Golan Heights?
Continuing education is key to being a successful tour guide. The tourism world is always changing, so we have to stay ahead of the game. Attend those workshops, read industry magazines, and connect with other tour guides to share knowledge and tips.
It's about being lifelong learners, always looking for new information and experiences to improve our skills and enrich our tours.
Exactly. You can also dive deeper into your own areas of interest, like maybe archaeology, history, religion, or culinary tourism. The more you know, the more you can share with your tour groups, and that creates a richer and more interesting experience for them.
It's about being experts in our field, not just generalists. We can showcase our passion and knowledge to create those truly unforgettable Golan Heights experiences. Now let's talk about logistics. The Golan Heights, while full of great attractions, can be tricky logistically, especially for those who don't know the area. As future tour guides, how do we make sure everything runs smoothly, from transportation to site visits?
Logistics are so important in tour guiding. It's about being organized, prepared, and being able to adapt. Plan those itineraries carefully, factoring in travel times, visits to sites, meal breaks, and any rest stops. Think about potential delays like traffic jams or places being closed unexpectedly, and have backup plans ready. Communicate clearly with your driver, tour operators, and everyone involved to make sure everyone's on the same page.
It's like being the conductor, orchestrating every little detail to make it a smooth and enjoyable experience for our groups. Now, another tool in our tour guide toolbox is technology. In this digital age, tech can enhance our tours in so many ways. How do we use it effectively without, overwhelming our groups or taking away from that authentic Golan Heights experience?
Technology can be amazing for tour guides, but it's all about using it strategically. You can use tablets or smartphones to show pictures, videos, and maps of the places you're visiting. It provides context and really brings the history to life.
So it's about using technology to enhance the experience, not replace it, right?
Exactly. You could even use those virtual reality headsets to give people immersive experiences. Imagine they could step back in time and see those ancient sites as they once were. But always remember, technology should complement the tour, not overshadow it.
It's about finding that balance, using digital tools to enhance the experience without taking away from that genuine Golan Heights magic. Now, we also need to talk about marketing ourselves and our services. The tourism industry is pretty competitive these days. How do we stand out and attract clients who are specifically looking for those unique experiences we offer?
Marketing is a must for tour guides. You gotta be your own biggest fan. Create a professional website or online portfolio to showcase your experience, your specialties, and what happy clients have said about you. Network with travel agents, tour operators, and other people in the industry to build relationships that could lead to referrals and bookings.
So it's about building our brand, right? Showing we're experts and highlighting those unique experiences we offer.
You got it. And don't forget about social media. Use platforms like Instagram and Facebook to share photos, videos, and stories from your tours, connect with potential clients, and build a following. And of course, word of mouth is still super powerful. Encourage those happy clients to spread the word, leave reviews online, and recommend you to their friends and family.
It's about building a reputation for excellence, creating those unforgettable experiences that people want to tell everyone about. Now, another way to create those special moments is by bringing in local experts. The Golan Heights is full of knowledgeable people, from archaeologists and historians to farmers, winemakers, and artists. How do we tap into that local expertise to make our tours even better and more authentic?
Bringing in those local experts is an amazing way to add depth and richness to your tours. Think about collaborating with them, inviting them to share their insights and perspectives with your groups.
So it's about going beyond the guidebook, getting those firsthand accounts and specialized knowledge that really make the Golan Heights come alive.
Precisely. For example, you could set up a guest lecture by a local archaeologist at an ancient site. They could provide deeper insights into the excavations and what the findings mean. Or you could invite a local winemaker to do a tasting, sharing their love for winemaking and the unique terroir of the Golan Heights.
It's about creating those special moments, those unexpected encounters that make a tour truly memorable. Now, one of the things that makes the Golan Heights so special is its ability to really touch people's hearts and minds. How do we, as tour guides, help our groups connect on a deeper level and reflect on their experiences in a meaningful way?
That's a beautiful goal, and as tour guides, we have the honor of guiding our groups not just through physical landscapes, but also through emotional and intellectual ones.
So it's not just about giving them information, it's about creating a setting where people can connect with the Golan Heights on a deeper level, where they can think about their experiences and take away something meaningful.
You got it. Encourage your groups to share their thoughts and feelings, to consider how the Golan Heights has affected them personally. Facilitate discussions, ask open-ended questions, and make space for meaningful conversation and reflection. You can also encourage them to take action, like supporting local businesses, volunteering in the community, or simply telling others about the beauty and strength of the Golan Heights.
It's about planting those seeds of inspiration, encouraging our tour groups to not just visit the Golan Heights, but to really experience it, to connect with it, and to take that connection home with them. Now, to be a successful tour guide, we need to stay ahead of the curve, see those trends coming, and find our own unique niche or specialty. How can we carve out our own space in this competitive world of tourism?
Finding your niche is a fantastic way to stand out from the crowd. Think about what makes you unique, what you're passionate about, and what experiences you can offer that other guides don't. The Golan Heights has so much to offer, from history and archaeology to nature and food. Focus on what excites you, what you know well, and what you can share with passion and authenticity.
So it's about knowing our strengths, our passions, and building specialized tours around them for people with specific interests.
Exactly. For instance, if you're a history buff, specialize in historical tours. Focus on those ancient sites, battlefields, and the Golan Heights' geopolitical importance. If you love nature, lead hikes, and outdoor adventures, showcase those breathtaking landscapes and all the plants and animals. And if you're a foodie, create gourmet tours highlighting the wineries, distilleries, and restaurants, talking about how things are made, the local ingredients, and those unique Golan Heights flavors.
It's about becoming the go-to guide for a specific kind of experience, attracting people who are looking for exactly what we offer. Now, another big part of building a successful tour guide business is networking. The tourism industry is all about who you know, right?
Networking is essential. It's how you build those connections, get referrals, and stay in the loop about what's happening. Go to industry events, join professional groups, and connect with tour operators, travel agents, and other guides working in the Golan Heights.
So it's about making those connections, sharing what we know, and learning from others in the field.
For sure. You never know what can come from a simple conversation. A good network is invaluable to your career. And remember, networking is a two-way street. Be open to sharing your knowledge and contacts, and be genuinely interested in learning from other people's experiences.
It's about creating a community, supporting each other, and working together to show the world what the Golan Heights have to offer. And to show them that, we need to be great communicators. We're not just sharing information, we're telling stories, making people curious, and creating a memorable experience. How do we master the art of communication, both verbal and nonverbal, to create those engaging tours?
Communication is at the core of what we do. Think of yourself as a storyteller, weaving together history, personal stories, humor, and your own insights to bring the Golan Heights to life for your groups.
So it's not about just listing facts, it's about finding those engaging narratives, those captivating stories that will resonate with our audience.
Exactly. Be clear, concise, and interesting, and adapt your communication style to the specific interests and needs of your group. And don't forget about nonverbal communication. Eye contact, body language, and a warm, welcoming presence can make a huge difference in creating a positive atmosphere.
It's about being present, being authentic, connecting with our tour groups on a human level. Another way to make those tours memorable is by adding local culture into the mix. The Golan Heights is a blend of cultures, from ancient traditions to modern influences. How do we immerse our tour groups in the local culture while still being respectful and sensitive to the different communities and traditions?
Immersing your groups in the local culture is a fantastic way to give them a deeper understanding of the region and create a more authentic experience. You could arrange visits to Druze villages where your group can learn about their unique customs, taste their food, and maybe even learn a traditional dabke dance.
So it's about going beyond the typical tourist traps and giving our groups a chance to interact with local communities, learn about their traditions, and experience the Golan Heights from a different perspective.
Absolutely. And don't forget about those local markets. They're a sensory overload in the best way possible. Encourage your groups to explore the stalls, talk to the vendors, Buy some handmade crafts and experience the sights, sounds, and smells of everyday life in the Golan Heights.
It's about those immersive experiences, giving them opportunities to connect with the local people and culture in a real way. Now let's talk about using visual aids. The Golan Heights is a visually stunning region, full of amazing landscapes and historical sites. How can we use visual aids to complement what we're saying and help our tour groups really see those places and events we're describing?
Visual aids are awesome for bringing your stories to life. Think about using maps, photographs, illustrations, things like that. For example, when you're talking about the ancient city of Gamla, you could show your group a map of the city, point out its strategic location, the fortifications, and the key spots from that Roman siege. Or show them pictures of the archaeological digs, those remains of the city walls, houses, and the synagogue.
So it's about painting a picture, providing those visual cues that help them imagine what life was like, how the landscape has changed, and the stories behind it all.
Exactly. And when you're talking about the Golan's natural beauty, show them photos or videos of those incredible landscapes, from the waterfalls in the Yehudia Nature Reserve to the calm waters of the Sea of Galilee. Those visual aids will not only make your commentary more interesting, they'll create a more immersive and memorable experience for your groups.
It's about engaging all those senses, bringing the Golan Heights to life in a way that words just can't do on their own. Now, one of the most important relationships we have as tour guides is with our drivers. We spend so much time together on the road, navigating the Golan Heights' winding roads and diverse landscapes. How do we build a strong and positive relationship with our drivers so everything runs smoothly and everyone has a good time?
That relationship with your driver is crucial. They're a big part of the tour experience, and a good relationship can make a huge difference. Be clear and communicate well with your driver. Give them a detailed itinerary, estimated travel times, and any special needs your group might have. Respect their time, their expertise, and the challenges they face on the road. And most importantly, show your appreciation for their hard work.
So it's about treating our drivers with respect, seeing them as valuable partners in making the tour a success.
Right. A happy driver means a happy tour guide, and a positive relationship between the two of you will make the atmosphere more relaxed and enjoyable for everyone. And those little gestures of appreciation go a long way. A simple thank you or a small gift at the end of the tour can really make a difference.
It's about creating that team atmosphere, recognizing we're all working together to create a memorable experience. Now, another important part of being a successful tour guide is staying informed about what's happening in the world, both in the region and globally. The Golan Heights has a complicated and sometimes unstable history, and current events can definitely affect tourism. How do we stay up to date on the latest news and developments, and how do we handle any concerns or worries our tour groups might have?
Staying informed is super important. The Golan Heights is always changing, and things can happen quickly. Make it a habit to stay current on the news, both locally and internationally. Read the papers, follow reliable sources online, and stay connected with other tour guides and industry folks.
So we need to know what's happening and be ready to answer questions about current events, giving our groups balanced and objective information.
Absolutely. And be sensitive to their concerns, especially those who might be coming from places experiencing conflict or political instability. Offer reassurance, answer their questions honestly, and create a safe space where they feel comfortable sharing their concerns.
It's about being informed, being empathetic, and being a source of reliable information and support for our groups. Now, another way to give them the best possible experience is by specializing in a certain kind of tour. The Golan Heights has a lot to offer, and focusing on a specific type of tour lets us develop our expertise and cater to a niche market. How do we choose a specialty that fits our passions and skills, and how do we market ourselves as the experts in that area?
Specializing is a great way to stand out from the crowd and attract those clients who are looking for the specific experiences you offer. Think about what you're passionate about, what you're good at, and what you enjoy sharing with others. Do you love history? Then lead historical tours. Focus on those ancient sites, battlefields, and the Golan Heights' geopolitical importance. Love nature. Specialize in nature tours, lead hikes, bike rides, kayaking trips, and show off those stunning landscapes and all the different plants and animals. Are you a foodie? Create those gourmet tours focusing on the wineries, distilleries, olive oil producers, and restaurants. Share insights about how things are made, the local ingredients, and those unique Golan Heights flavors.
So it's about finding our niche, becoming the go-to expert for a specific Golan Heights experience.
That's it. Once you know your specialty, market yourself that way. Highlight your expertise on your website, social media, and in your marketing materials. Network with others in your niche, attend industry events, and look for chances to showcase your knowledge and passion.
It's about building our brand, becoming known as the expert, and attracting those clients who are looking for exactly what we offer. Now, to be successful tour guides, we need to focus on professional development. The world of tourism is constantly changing, with new trends, new technologies, and best practices popping up all the time. How do we stay on top of things and ensure that we're giving our groups the most current information and the best experience?
Professional development never ends for a tour guide. It's about investing in ourselves and our careers to make sure we're giving our tour groups the best possible experience. Attend workshops, conferences, and training programs to sharpen your skills, expand your knowledge, and grow your network.
So it's about being lifelong learners, constantly looking for new knowledge and experiences to make our tours better and stay relevant in an industry that's always changing.
Exactly. Read industry publications, keep up with the latest trends, and find opportunities to learn from those experienced guides. And think about getting certifications or accreditations. Those can really boost your credibility and make you more marketable.
It's about showing that commitment to excellence, letting our clients know we're serious about what we do, and dedicated to giving them the best Golan Heights experience. Now, one of the things that makes a tour really memorable is the guide's attitude. That enthusiasm, passion, and genuine love for the Golan Heights, it's contagious. Our tour groups will definitely feel our energy. So how do we keep that positive and excited attitude even on those long days or when things don't go as planned?
You're right. Your attitude sets the tone for the whole tour. Remember, you're not just giving information, you're sharing your love for the Golan Heights, its history, its culture, its people. When you're genuinely excited about what you're sharing, it shows, and it creates a more engaging and memorable experience for everyone.
So it's about letting our passion shine through, reminding ourselves why we love doing this.
You got it. Approach every tour with a positive attitude. Be ready to go the extra mile and have that genuine desire to share the beauty and wonder of the Golan Heights. You're not just a guide, you're an ambassador for this incredible region, and your passion can inspire others to fall in love with the Golan just like you have.
It's about being a cheerleader for the Golan Heights, sharing our love for this place, and encouraging others to discover its magic. Now, another way to create those magical moments is by going above and beyond for our tour groups. It's often those little unexpected things that make the biggest difference. What are some ways we can go that extra mile and show our groups that we truly care about their experience?
It's all about those small, thoughtful things, that show your group you're not just going through the motions.
I get it. So what are some examples? What comes to mind?
Well, think of it this way. You're more than just a guide. You're a host. Treat your tour group like guests at your own awesome party. You know what I mean? Like if you know someone's birthday's coming up, maybe you arrange a little cake or a special toasted dinner. Or, if someone's having a tough time with the heat, offer them a cold drink or just lend a helping hand.
I like that. It's those little things, those acts of kindness that make people feel appreciated. What else can we do to make their experience even better?
Always be prepared. Have sunscreen, bug spray, a basic first aid kit, those kinds of things. You just never know what you might need. And be ready to change plans. Be flexible. Maybe a site is closed or a restaurant is full. Have some backup options and try to present them to the group as a fun, exciting adventure, not a disappointment.
That's really good advice. It's about being resourceful, rolling with the punches, and turning those little hiccups into something even more memorable. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to go back to something you said earlier, the importance of showing our groups that real spirit of the Golan Heights. How can we capture that special mix of history, resilience, and innovation and make it something they really connect with?
That's where your own style as a guide comes in. The Golan Heights is like a cake with layers. You've got that ancient history at the bottom, then modern innovation on top, and those stories of resilience woven all throughout. As a guide, your job is to help your group experience each layer, see how complex it is, and understand how it all blends together to make something truly unique.
I love that analogy. So we're not just throwing a bunch of facts at them. We're crafting an experience, a journey that shows them what the Golan Heights is all about.
That's it. And remember, your passion is key. When you're genuinely excited about what you're sharing, it rubs off on people. Your enthusiasm will inspire them to love the Golan Heights just as much as you do.
That's a great way to put it. This deep dive has been so helpful. I feel much more prepared to start my journey as a tour guide in the Golan Heights.
You're going to be great. Remember, you're not just a guide, you're a storyteller, a cultural ambassador, a creator of experiences. Embrace that role, let your passion and creativity flow, and you'll create memories that last a lifetime.
And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire the next generation of tour guides to uncover the hidden layers of this amazing place. This has been The Deep Dive, wishing you all the best as you become tour guides in the Golan Heights.